Hello, everybody. It is me, Pacific. Today, I want to talk about attorneys. I want to talk about a law firm located in Cherry Creek, which is a prestigious area of Denver, Colorado. There's a lady friend that I have who had to do some legal business. She had hired an attorney out of this group at a law firm in Cherry Creek, and she had put money down to initiate a case. And what was ironic is they charged her a $300 paper fee. Now, I believe she kept money with them for it was either 2 weeks or 1 month. Nothing was actually done. She didn't go ahead and say, okay, let's go ahead and do this case. She had submitted paperwork and all that. She decided to pull the case from that law firm because the attorney she went with went to a different group of attorneys. They did not give her any of the $300 back. No paper fee was generated. She contacted them. They told her they were not going to reimburse it. There was nowhere in there that said that she forfeits that. The case never went to trial. Nothing was put together. All they did was collect the information that she gave them. So nothing was initiated. It got so bad she contacted the Better Business Bureau, and it is interesting, the Better Business Bureau contacted this attorney's group 2 times. They failed to respond to the Better Business Bureau at all. I want to say something about attorneys. I do not have high regard for them. They charge wages that are beyond ridiculous. I believe this group charged something in the neighborhood of $300 an hour. I don't know any attorney that's worth $300 an hour. It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable how the attorneys that claim to stand on the law actually have ways of getting around the law, and they use legalese speak. I would love to mention the name of this Cherry Creek law firm. I will tell all my friends they're sleazy, classic attorneys. I don't have high regard for Cherry Creek people anyway, as they typically think that they're better than other people. And I see the way they drive and the way they act, and they are less than human. What bothers me about attorneys, I was watching a video called The College Conspiracy. You might want to look it up, those of you that are my viewers and fans. It is a very well done video on the racket called college and student loans and all that. And it was also noted in there that most senators and congressmen are attorneys. And why? Because they pass laws in Washington, D.C. that protect attorneys' jobs. The more legislation you put out there, the more rules and laws, the more attorneys that are needed to protect those laws, to interpret those laws. Years ago, when I went through immigration, when I had gotten involved with somebody overseas, and I ended up canceling it because the marriage went shoo, I was told you can file the forms to the Immigration and Naturalization Services, but people told me if you screw up on those forms, INS will throw them in the trash and throw your whole case away. I actually have a friend in Florida who had a friend for years who worked in INS who told him, we get so many cases for people petitioning for their wives. Sometimes we're told by our superiors to just take these cases and throw them in the trash can. So, if you want to avoid all that, you get an attorney involved. Because once you have an attorney side, then INS has to deal with it. I said, isn't that interesting? The attorneys in America have created such a lobby. Look at the phone books in any town or city in the U.S. and look under A in the yellow pages, and the attorney section in Denver is this thick. Has anybody stopped and realized what is happening to America? The litigiousness of everything. Women are classic at drama. Anything happens, anything at all, you bump them in a store, they back up, and you're driving along and they just shoot out of a parking stall, not even looking, and you bump their bumper and they get out, I'm going to sue you. Wait a minute, you were backing up and you just put it in reverse and went, boom. Our culture is so sue happy that it is beyond ridiculous. And attorneys eat this up. I've watched commercials here in Denver for attorneys saying, "Have you been hurt in an accident? Have you lost a loved one?" Well, we at this law firm, we care. If I have ever heard a line of BS, that takes the cake. I don't know any attorney that cares. I don't know any attorney who actually I would call ethical first in their charging and fees. They make great money. And then you see the guys with the Beamers and the expensive cars with ATTY on the back of their license plate. I don't have high regard for attorneys. I realize there are some that practice law and do a good job. I could never be called upon as an attorney to represent somebody who was charged with murder and charged with stuff. I'm tired of attorneys. I went to a jury duty in Minnesota. A guy was way over the legal limit. He had gotten caught repeatedly for DUI. And the attorney he got, they wanted to contest the breathalyzer, saying that it was higher than normal, and it was substantial. And he was trying to get that down because it would mean losing his license because he had so many infractions. They asked me in the jury selection, "Could you represent this fairly? Do you drink?" I said, "No, I don't drink." And I said, "Yes, I can represent this fairly." And they said, "Michael, what do you believe? Do you believe equipment can be wrong?" I said, "Yes, I do." And he said, "What are your views on alcohol?" I said, "People drinking and driving, it should be dealt with." "Yes, but you realize you're allowed to have a drink, and as long as it's under that, you're allowed to drive." And I said, "Yes, but I still think that people shouldn't drink and drive at all. If you're going to have alcohol, don't get in the car." Bottom line is they threw me out because they realized I wasn't going to be objective as they defined it because I wasn't going to let this jerk off. The thing that bothers me is a lot of bad people get off if they get a good attorney, meaning pay him a lot of money, and the attorney's job is to go and break down the other side, make them so nervous and slipping up and everything, and he can get out on a scofflaw. Let's talk about the O.J. Simpson case. Most thinking, intelligent people know that O.J. Simpson was guilty of murdering Ron Goldman and Nicole Simpson. Anybody could look at this, just the superficial evidence, blood all over his Bronco, the thumps behind the house that Kato Caitlin had, heard the broken glass in the motel room in Chicago. Clearly, that was a case that was tried by the media. It was a complete three-ring circus. People attacked Marcia Clark, who I thought was very good. Then they focused on Mark Fuhrman. And the black community came up with the, "if it doesn't fit, you must acquit." Cute saying, but that's not a good barometer of testing truth. It's interesting that after OJ was released and found not guilty by a spineless, pathetic, media-controlled group of marshmallows that called themselves jurors, they wanted to focus on something that Mark Fuhrman had done wrong. Legal cases in the U.S., justice is not justice anymore. People can get off with a good attorney, they focus on minutia, and if somebody else did something wrong, that nullifies everything else. I was taught two wrongs don't make a right. That is one thing my mother did impart to me, and it stuck with me. Somebody does something to me, I have to be careful I don't jump in and return evil with evil. But what disturbs me about this is a murderer got off. Well, OJ hasn't been very good since then, and now I don't know if he's serving time or whatever. The guy has a violent temper. He beat on Nicole constantly. I don't know why Nicole didn't wake up. That's another thing about white women I don't understand. She got involved with a black man. He had money and prestige. He beat on her. She kept staying, and yada, yada, yada. I have a problem with the high caliber white women. Anyway, they don't seem to do what makes rational sense. But we're not going to get into that here. I think most attorneys are crooks. I think most attorneys are greedy SOBs. This law firm in Cherry Creek, if I could legally mention the name without any repercussion, I would, because as far as I am concerned, they are unethical. They stole $300 from this lady friend of mine, and I'm not being unobjective because she's a friend of mine. I commented in a video called Cherry Creek Law Firm Sleazy. It is disgusting. Attorneys answer to nobody but themselves, and it is disgusting. And that is what has driven up the cost of health care in this country, is doctors have to have malpractice insurance in case they make a mistake, that they don't lose everything. I notice today with the way people drive and the way people act, it's funny, it's okay for them to drive like complete reckless morons, but somebody accidentally bumps them in a parking lot and they are ready to sue. Years ago, I was in Duluth, Minnesota, sitting in my school bus, 4-lane roads, and an intersection. I was stopped at a red light. I watched a college girl come zooming up in her little pickup. I was looking at her. She was looking up at me, and I thought, she ain't gonna stop. She ran the red light, slammed into a minivan, T-boned it, bent the driver's door. I pulled my bus up off the side of the road, radioed the accident, and got out. Dude, you okay? He says this to me. Yeah, I'm fine. She ran that red light, didn't she? I said, oh, don't worry. I saw it all. I said, you okay? And I said, oh. I went to go and I had to wrench open his door. He says, yeah, I'm fine. And then he goes, oh, oh. Okay, he was hit from the side. The minivan was pushed maybe a foot. She wasn't going at a high rate of speed. And I thought, neck injury. Okay. When the insurance company called me to interview me about what I saw, they said, did you believe he was injured? I said, no. I said, he got out, he walked around fine, and only after I said, are you okay? Then he reached for the neck, and to me it seemed feigned. Americans have been conditioned and taught, if you can prove any pain, you can go to a doctor 5 times, you can get pain and suffering, and boy, you can get a big settlement from that. This is costing America so much money by people being greedy, by people suing for loss of companionship and this and that. There was a case that I tried. I was on a jury panel in Denver. I did not give this woman what she wanted. African American woman was hit by a teenager who did something dumb, and the woman was fine. She had some mild injuries. All doctor bills were paid. The damage to the car, any loss of expenses, whatever. She wanted to sue for more, claimed there was some sort of ongoing pain. The jurors that I was with, we went into the closed room. They said, do you want to be the spokesperson? I said, sure. And I sat there for a minute and I said, okay, can we just cut the crap? This this case is crap. Does anybody agree or am I out there? And they all laughed. They said, thank you, this is frivolous, this is ridiculous. And they said, let's just sit in here for half an hour so it doesn't look like we just rushed to judgment. So we sat around, talked about things. I said, the teenager blew it. The teenager admitted wrong. The insurance company covered everything. I said, I think this woman's just going for money. More money. We didn't give it to her. We just didn't give it to her. And what is costing America billions of dollars? Frivolous lawsuits. People walking in a store, slipping on a spilled water. Now you have to have the sign, the mop sandwich board. It says, caution, slippery floor, mopped, whatever. Now you have, because of good old McDonald's and the woman, the dingbat woman who put the hot coffee on her lap and it spilled and she burned her leg and she sued. Now we have little warnings on McDonald's cups. We have warnings on children's toys. It is ridiculous. You go buy a snowblower, you got things, do not stick hand in chute. I cannot believe how many Minnesota people are pushing snowblowers 25 below and it jams up and they instinctively reach their hand down the chute, get their hand caught in the auger and become hamburger. What part of don't put your hand in there do you not understand? But now we got big labels and warnings all over the place so that they can't be sued. I watched a video the other day And it was an American video where they were complaining about the sides of semi-truck trailers, that they didn't have underride bars or skirting down the sides of them because they said people could hit these semi trucks and underride and go under them and kill them. If they're going fast enough, it can chop the top of the car off, killing the driver and the occupants. Every video I saw, I thought to myself, so now it's gotten to the point, let's make the trucking industry cost more money, and we're going to put all these guards all over semi trailers for all the idiot moron motorists that don't know how to drive. I watched video after video where they showed that cars crashing in the back of semi trailers and going almost to the duals, in fact, to the case of the back tires, and chopping off the top of the roof. And the guy was saying, "This is terrible. People can be killed." I wrote and I said, "Hey, dude, when you go to driver training, we're taught not to rear end the back of anything, let alone semis." But no, now we've got an underride bar that's supposed to protect people. You still smuck up your car. You still might get killed, but at least you can't go fully under the semi. Now we want to put guards on the side. The video went on to say that the trucking industry and the U.S. government is not doing anything about it. Why should they? Tonka Truck Corporation, toy trucks. They used to have a truck, I believe it was in the 50s or 60s. It was a sanitation department truck. You pushed a lever and it lifted up this dumpster and flipped it over the cab of the truck into the back of the dumpster bin or whatever you want to call it. Trash thing. You know why they don't make those trucks anymore? Because kids will get their fingers snapped in it. They have taken all the fun toys away. I remember riding my bicycle without a helmet. We would endo it. Endo, for those of you that don't know, means stand up on your front tire, lock up the brakes so that the back end went boom and knocked you off the bike, and you got road rash, and you got up and said, "Oh, look at what I did, man." All the boys thought they were cool. I understand safety. I understand it very much. But what is sad is now we're trying to legalize everything. People don't take personal responsibility for themselves. We're going to blame the truckers. Excuse me. We're going to blame the truckers for people crashing into the sides of semi-trailers or the back of semi-trailers, and we're demanding more skirting and more framing underneath the trucks so that people don't get killed. I believe that if people cannot take personal responsibility for their actions, why should we make truck trailers put more heavy stuff on the side of them? Well, but then they cited Europe. Europe puts those things under trailers now because so many motorists in Europe are such boneheaded drivers, they're constantly hitting semi trucks. It's funny that Americans always want to focus on semi trucks. They don't like being behind a semi truck. I heard one guy, salesman, made $100,000 a year selling trucks. He says, "I don't like semi trucks. They shouldn't even be on the road when we're out there." I said, "Dude, that golf shirt you're wearing, the car you're buying, all that stuff came in on a semi truck. Are you serious?" Nope. The mentality of most Americans regarding CDL vehicles is one of ignorance, stupidity, lawlessness, and complete disregard for those hard-working truckers that are out there every day on the front lines dealing with a nation of incompetent, bad, lawless drivers. Most people don't know when you're driving around a semi-truck that you don't stay in its blind spot, that you don't tailgate it, that you don't cut 2 inches in front of it, but they do it anyway. And then when they get wrecked from the semi-truck, they can't understand how many tons is involved, and it just smashes everything that they think is so safe. Lawsuits is killing us. Litigiousness is killing us. Now, more and more, we're telling Americans it's okay to drive like an idiot. We'll protect you. We'll make sure these truckers are good boys and they put all their little rubber baby buggy bumpers all over their truck. I got a better idea. Because Americans have become such bad drivers, I think Tupperware needs to get smart. Listen to me, Tupperware. All the cars are going plastic anyway. I looked at 3 Dodge pickups at the National Western Stock Show Complex. That's a big cowboy rodeo event. And they had 3 trucks you could register to win. Nice Dodge diesels and 4-door pickups. Everything was plastic. The whole front grille was plastic. Everything in the interior was plastic. And it all looks real nice. But talk about a false sense of security. People that drive those trucks, they drive like bullies. They run red lights. What the fools in the Dodge doofus diesel category don't realize, you get hit by a semi, all that plastic goes. Tupperware, on the other hand, though, have you ever tried to break Tupperware? Shoot, it's hard to wash. You get grease on that Tupperware and you scrub and scrub and scrub and soap, 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 and it's still slippery. You can throw Tupperware on the floor, you can throw it across the room. It doesn't shatter. So for all the idiot drivers out there, we need to make SUVs and all cars and pickups out of Tupperware. And that'd be great. Everybody could hit each other and bounce off each other and shoot in this direction and just put a bunch of fun bags around you. When you get in your car, you can just play bumper cars all the way to work. And if you want to do road rage, you can just go hit everybody on your way. And you know what? Nobody would get hurt. It'd be fun. Americans cannot be trusted with a piece of steel, 4,000 or 5,000 pounds. My F-150 weighs almost 5,000 pounds. It is a half-ton pickup. 5,000 pounds is a weapon when somebody's in the wrong mindset, when somebody's not paying attention, when somebody's had too much alcohol, or somebody's angry, or somebody has a I'm better than you, I'm the bully mentality. We want to just do everything we can to control guns, but we don't do anything about all these crazy people on the roads killing people every day. I watched a video the other day. There were 72 cars piled up in Ohio. Do you know why this happens? What does this have to do with litigiousness? I'm getting there. Some idiot, all the idiots, are going too fast. Hit patches of ice, one spins out of control, and because everybody's following too close, that spins out of control, and all these cars go. Ironically, the people that have a video mounted to their dash that are driving along just with rolling video showing the snowy conditions, they're driving, and then you see car, and then you see them come to a stop, and all these cars are just wrecking. And this video that's going, the vehicle that's driving isn't in the accident. Isn't that funny? The person who's videotaping all this with the dash mounted cam, they stayed out of that accident, but 72 cars got into it. How did that happen? People do not drive defensively. People do not believe in safety cushion, space cushion. Space cushion, for all you ignorant drivers out there, is allowing enough following distance so that if everybody in front of you wrecks, you can come to a stop and be just on the edge of all that chaos. But no, people tailgate me coming home. People tailgate me. They ride somebody's bumper. They jerk into the left lane. And all it takes is one bloody moron to jerk in front of somebody else, causing. I saw a guy yesterday. I'm in my school bus coming back after routes. There's a pickup in front of me, one of those stupid avalanches. He does what's called a jerk-off move. He's in the right lane. The left lane is moving. Okay, it's going 35. He just puts on a signal, goes whip. A truck was coming up at 35, slammed on the brakes, would have totally T-boned him. Thankfully, the guy in the pickup was driving good, and the idiot, he didn't even get it. He just sailed on. I see so many near misses every day because of impatience. And attorneys get involved in this, and people get sued, and the money is ridiculous. Attorneys do not care about you. That is the biggest lie any commercial could show. Most attorneys are heartless, spineless, and I will leave you a joke. There were some doctors standing around talking one day, and they said they were talking about the kind of patients they like to operate on. One doctor says, I like to work on librarians the best, and the other doctor said, why? Well, because you open up a librarian and everything's alphabetized. Another doctor says, no, I've got it better. I like working on accountants. Why? Well, because when you open up, everything's numbered inside. And the other one says, no, I got electricians. They're the best. Everything's color-coded inside. The fourth one just yawns and says, I got it easy. I like working on attorneys. The other doctor said, attorneys? What are you, nuts? He says, yeah, they have no guts, no spine, and their head is interchangeable with their butt. Love that. That's good. That's great. There's a reason people don't like attorneys. The attorneys' lobbies, attorneys are killing our country with more legislation. Have you Americans noticed that more legislation is coming down every year and it's affecting hardworking, honest people, and it's doing nothing to curb all this driving we're talking about? They're putting more commercial driver laws on semi trucks and bus drivers and CDL vehicles that in Lakewood, Colorado, you can't even put up a fence without a permit. And then you have to have somebody inspect and sign off and all this crap. Americans are being told what they can and cannot do on their own piece of real estate that they buy. Now, I understand some zoning laws. If you have a nice neighborhood, you don't want a bunch of cars on jack stands adorning the front yard. But it's gotten so ridiculous now. You move into some communities, you got a nice RV, you can't even park it in front of your own house to load stuff into it to go on a trip. The homeowners association will have a fit. I believe in law and I believe in rules, especially when people don't submit themselves to rules anyway. They need to get speeding tickets, they need to get reckless driving tickets, and they need to be pulled off the road. But we have more legislation aimed at nailing those of us honest people. And that the whole gun control issue is a classic case in point. You're going to take away guns from honest citizens. The bad guys can still get them. It's stupid. It's smoke and mirrors. Even Joseph Biden the other day said, how to solve the problem, every American should get a shotgun. He even affirmed, if we're all armed, there's going to be less messing around. It was interesting, Joseph Biden also made a comment about Hollywood needs to clean up its act. If any industry should be sued by attorneys, it should be Hollywood. They should be held liable for every piece of filth that they generate. Yet Americans are so addicted to it. And in America, the majority is never gone after. Pay attention to that, Americans. The majority is never gone after. We're not going to do something about the driving problem in the U.S. because too many people drive like idiots, including attorneys. I've seen them. Attorneys do not practice law. What they practice is greed and fleecing and ripping off people and being unethical. Not every single one, but I would say 99.9%. The Cherry Creek law firm that had a bogus $300 paper cost, the gal that I'm talking about said I would have submitted to them a box of ream paper myself. They did not give her money back, even though no paperwork was even generated. And what bothers me, there was nothing that said if she withdrew the case that she automatically loses that. Attorneys are crooks. They did not answer to the Better Business Bureau at all, which alone is telling. I don't know why attorneys have so much power, but we let them get there. The House and the Senate, most of those politicians are attorneys, and all they're doing is protecting attorneys' jobs. They're protecting union jobs, and they're protecting the very people that are destroying this country so fast. I don't like attorneys. I don't like them. Sam, I am. No, I don't. I don't like green eggs and ham. This is Pacific signing off. Bye-bye.